Welcome to Talent Instinct, an electrifying space where we dive into how construction business owners revamp their hunt for top-tier talent by instinctivizing their efforts. It's time to spice up relying on systems and processes and discover prime insights on how to smartly apply their most important aspect, their instinct, as well as intellect, to pinpoint individuals who don't just fit in, but flourish. Let's face it, making the right hire for your business has never been more paramount. The stakes of the wrong hire can disrupt performance, profit, culture, and succession planning. Talent Instinct isn't about playing it safe. It's about conquering with calculated instinct. Today I want to talk about keeping a good reputation within the industry and what that means for attracting staff as well as subbies, and knowing what the best way to approach keeping a good reputation is. For me, definitely, we all talk and we know who we want to work for and who we don't want to work for. It gets around very quickly if there is, companies that have a bad culture, and you see that they go through people quickly and, can't keep staff. And it always amazes me that, and I go on and on about it, how important culture is and making sure that we are hiring the best people. As a business owner, you always want to hire the top tier talent, and that means the 10-20% of the industry that are overachievers and just great at what they do, because that's going to improve your profit line. So to do that though, building a culture is really important. It's also really important, obviously, because, again, people talk. Everybody talks. So there's definitely builders out there that are known for shortcutting tradies, to not paying them properly, to even other recruitment agencies. People are known, when they don't pay or they're late to. There's certain companies that are 100% known to not be able to deliver their projects on time for that reason. Now, I personally have never liked working for a company where I can't deliver the product properly. And, everyone likes to get paid on time. We need the cash flow. And especially in this day and age where things are tight and we are trying to manage our cash flow, this start of the year hasn't necessarily been great for everyone. We are going from wet weather to heat, and I personally know of a lot of people that are finding that they can't get machines on the ground, or they can't get out of the ground to do the new buildings. So that again is putting pressure on people, which then trickles down the line. I was speaking to a candidate the other day and I asked him what company he was working for, which is renowned for having a bad reputation and being very disorganized in delivering their projects, not doing things properly and having great finishes. And I asked him, I said, how is that, with a bit of a smirk? Because I wanted to see, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I wanted to see what his reaction was. And the response was that he has been there for a couple of weeks and he felt very uncomfortable because they were not paying their contractors on time, and he was constantly getting phone calls and getting yelled at because it was, they weren't getting paid. Then he had the job of being a finishing foreman and needed some of the contracts to come back and fix their defects. And they just didn't want to do it, obviously. And it's never going to be a priority because they're not getting paid properly. And the delivery of the actual job in itself, so the standard of work that they're going to do, is not going to be the best. because they don't get paid. And what we always want is we want people to be turning up on site and be happy to be there. So whether you're working directly for me or you're working directly for a company, if you feel undervalued or you're not going to get paid properly, you might turn up just for the sake of turning up, but you're never going to put your best efforts into the job. So I think it's a massive thing to make sure that if you can't pay people, for example, or things are happening, that you communicate well and you handle the situation properly. But we have all seen over the last, 24 months, the rumour mill has been running hot, and we are hearing when people are not getting paid. And people are skeptical because where there has been smoke, there's definitely been fire. And there has been a couple of times where I have heard from many different people along the lines that they're not getting paid. And lo and behold, not too much longer, the company is going into administration. And we're seeing the writing on the wall. So I think it's really important as a tradie or a contractor or whoever that you make sure that you investigate to see that you're doing, checks on the companies and seeing where they are sort of financially so you don't get yourself into trouble. But I think as well that it is so important as a business that you make sure that your reputation is preceding you. Not only does it attract people wanting to work for you, so you're going to get the best of the best, and then that also follows on and snowballs onto, your business growing and you getting bigger contracts, you getting better contracts. It's a natural progression on delivery because people, hear how good you are. So my question to you is do you want to hear how great you are? Or do you want people to hear about you for the wrong reasons? That is the question I pose to you. And I think that we all have our sort of ups and downs. Don't get me wrong. For me personally, I can talk from experience that when I first started the business, beginning of COVID, anyone knows me that knows that I started it in 2020. And, I had to build up the database and I had to build up people knowing who I was again and where I was, and the reputation as well for workers coming and working for me is very important. I get a lot of referral work from it as well. I don't actually do too much looking for business. A lot of the time people come to me. I certainly get a lot of candidates coming to me wanting to work for me because they've heard good things about me. And that's what makes my business tick. It's what separates me from other recruiters. It's what separates me from other people in the industry. And it is definitely working for me in a positive. I'm not always perfect. Get people that want to say whatever they want to say about you, and it's probably normally them, if I'm being honest. It's not you. But it shouldn't happen as a constant. And, one in however many, fine. But if it is a constant sort of thing where that's the reputation of a company, I specifically know builders that people just refuse to go and work for because they don't think that they're going to get paid, or they're only going to get paid a portion. And that's important, guys. I know, again, another company, building company, people won't go and work for because they're not getting heard. I know of companies that I actually heard the other day. I was speaking to someone about, having women in construction and, them not being supported or supporting women within the field. And they found out that the company was going through women in the company because they weren't getting treated properly. I personally, on a side note, think that the best way to have your business is to have variety and have different people in different places that suit that role to make the company better, and having different age groups bring different things. Again, to be able to attract these people though, you need to get your reputation and make sure that your reputation is preceding you accordingly. All right, guys, that's just a quick one today. Please feel free to talk to people and talk to your clients about their experience. There's different ways that you can actually monitor and gauge that. Make sure if you have sales staff or project managers or whoever it may be, there is actually some sort of KPIs in place and being able to see what sort of targets are being met. Keep an eye on how people are performing and how delivering on jobs, because it's important. Thanks for listening to Talent Instinct. I'm Chantal Penny, and if you want more razor sharp insider info on instinctivizing your hiring game, then hit the subscribe button. Oh, and remember to drop a killer rating and review. Please don't hold back. Spread the news to fellow construction business owners too. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and soak up all of my content, please do so by stalking us on Talent Instinct and my brainchild Siteforce Recruitment on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.